Hi Professor Mintz, Jeff Grimes here, showing you a little bit of the app I designed for my senior project, the one I told you about. It's called The Revolution. Here's the first page, and the first part of my app is based on your chapter, Pre-Revolution Patterns of Change, so that's the title of this section. I'm going to press the microphone here.
As you learn about the differences between Britain and the colonies, pay attention to the political systems of the North and the South. Why did Britain's country values prevail in some places and not others?
That was my history teacher talking, and the goal of those microphones is to serve as learning objectives. So if you were a student assigned this section of reading for homework, you would press the microphone button so you could get a good idea of what the teacher might put on a test or a quiz. Let's look down at the bottom of the page. Here's an interactive feature you can see because it's outlined in a red box. These are 5 countries that also had revolutions around the American Revolution. I'm just touching the boxes to reveal new information. Swipe to the next page. Here's another example of an interactive feature, Court versus Country, the different political systems of the North and the South. Again, I'm just touching to reveal new information. Here's an image with text. There are a couple different layouts I used using your information from the website. Here's a quiz feature at the bottom of the page. You can see the first question says, which of the following countries did not have a revolution between 1770 and 1820? So I'll click on the question mark to bring up the answers. Germany is the correct choice, and it'll give you an explanation as to why you're correct or incorrect. It keeps track of your score. I can also reset it if I want to quiz myself again. This arrow over the image means it's an interactive image. This is Paul Revere's engraving of the Boston Massacre. So when I click on it, it'll give me 3 points of interest to explore in the painting. These are inaccuracies in Revere's engraving. When I click on one of them, the dynamic caption box will display new information that explains why that part of the painting is historically inaccurate. And I can explore all 3 of these blue squares to reveal new bits of information. Then I can return to the main text. Here's another interactive feature, the principles behind the war. Again, these are the 3 principles that separated America from Britain, and I can see what the colonists desired as they strove for independence by clicking on the 3 boxes. Here's a different interactive feature. This time they're vertically stacked to make it clear that these are 7 items in a bulleted list. Again, this is all the information taken from your digital history textbook. Aristocracy, property, religion, poverty, cities, voting, and slavery. These are interactive flashcards. I designed my app to appeal to all 3 types of learners, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic. And interactive flashcards appeal to kinesthetic learners. Each one of these serves as a flashcard. And if you see at the bottom of the page, I can press Hide All to hide all the information to quiz myself. Now if I go back to the top, again, I click on the year and it reveals the event that happened that year. If I get it wrong, I can hide it again and keep going until I get the correct answer. Here's another explorable image, the shot heard around the world. Again, I'm touching the points of interest to explore parts of this painting. I'll return to the app. Here's an example of something I adapted from your website to make it better for the iPad usage. These are the 27 colonial grievances that the colonists outlined in the Declaration of Independence. You had these as a bulleted list, so I figured I would make it into an interactive feature. The up and down arrow scrolls between the 27 grievances. So as you can see, I can go from 12 down toward 27. The top text is verbatim from the Declaration, and the bottom text is the way you put into plain English what that grievance meant. Here's an example of a historical feature that spotlights a certain part of the Revolution, in this case Yorktown, the 1781 battle that capped off the Revolution. These are 5 main features of the Battle of Yorktown that make it worthwhile. The battle map, the battlefield, the details of combat, the British surrender, the famous painting, and of course the involvement of the French. Here's one of my favorite features, the interactive map feature. We start in April 1775 with the battle just kicking off at Lexington and Concord. And as I click these squares, you can see as the battle lines progress, the movement of British troops and American troops, and ultimately the French fleet's arrival at Yorktown in 1781. Here's another one of my favorites, the Founding Fathers. There are 8 Founding Fathers I've put biographies of here, and I can click any one of them to highlight new information as well as a larger picture. We've got Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, James Madison, Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, George Washington, and Alexander Hamilton. Finally, here's another quiz feature. Again, I can touch any one of these. How about the third question? Which British general surrendered at Saratoga? Say I chose William Howe, that would be incorrect. It would tell me why I'm incorrect. You can scroll through the information to learn and get it right the next time. This is the final page of my app. It's the credits and citations page. And as you can see in the middle, here's where I give you credit. Chapter text used with permission from Digital History, copyright Stephen Mintz, Columbia University. And I used 3 of your chapters, Patterns of Change 1700 through 75, the American Revolution, and the Founders. I hope you were able to see the earlier video I sent. That was a video of my actual senior project presentation, and there were about 150 staff, faculty, educators, and fellow students who attended my presentation, and I showed them the app, as well as talked about some of the features that make the iPad so revolutionary. And my app was just one insight into what I think will and should become a revolution in the education industry, and it has the real chance with all these interactive features to increase students' engagement of and identification with the material that we're teaching them in the classroom. And it's a huge advantage over the normal textbook model because it appeals to all types of learners and offers students something they can hear, something they can touch, and something that excites them. Most importantly though, it's cost effective because you can buy one textbook that serves the entire class once you make the upfront cost of purchasing all the iPads. The average lifespan of a normal textbook is about 5 years, and once they start to decay, you have to buy new ones for the entire class. So it's a huge money saver that could be effective immediately in classrooms across the country. Professor Mintz, with your permission, I'd like to put my app on the App Store as a demonstration of what the iPad is capable of in terms of revolutionizing education. And hopefully, since it'll be free to download, teachers, administrators, and educators across the country can download it and be inspired by the potential it has to revolutionize the classroom. And putting it on the App Store will be the first step toward making the iPad revolution possible. Again, I want to emphasize the fact that this is going to be free to download. The goal of my project was to democratize education, and this is giving people across the country a chance to see what I've been working on and what, frankly, hundreds of people now are working on across the country making this iPad revolution possible. So it's going to be completely non-commercial, and I hope we can show people what we've done together in terms of pushing the boundaries of education with the iPad.